Hey y'all, this is Courtney with Nurse Court Budgets. Welcome to this special video. I am so excited to share with you guys a special little project that I have been working on. I have been alluding to the fact that my videos for 2026 are going to include some more budgeting videos because I really kind of missed those. I had been doing them for a little while in 2025, and then I kind of focused more on the savings challenge videos. And while I do enjoy doing the savings challenges, I love doing budget videos too. I like to do the budget worksheets and have all the math make sense and know where all my money's going. So I'm going to be getting back into doing budgeting videos for 2026. And I think a video has come out recently where I was showing you guys my setup for 2026, and I was going to be using the Budget Mom, the budget by paycheck method. And so I had started the process and I was filling things out, and I thought, there's a lot of things in here that I'm not really going to be using, but I'm going to go ahead and use the workbook because I have it for this year. So I thought to myself that for next year, Initially, I thought, maybe I'll just order her digital version of it and just print off the pages that I use and do that. And then I started thinking, why don't I just create my own, and I can just create it however I want to. So one of the things that you will know that I love a pretty planner, a pretty binder, a pretty budget book, but I don't have the time to put all the stickers on and make it all cutesy. I just don't have that time. So I decided that I was going to go on and create a monthly budget worksheet, and I would update it each month, and I would have it all cutesy and colorful for that month, and then the next month I would update it with new colors and new images, and I would just create my own. So that's what I've done. So you guys, I have here the January budget worksheets, and I am going to plan on doing this monthly, and each month will be a different theme and the colors will change, but I am going to basically start doing these every month. So this is the little cover or dashboard page, I guess. My thoughts was to actually turn this into like a happy planner style. I have one of those hole punches, and so my plan is to probably do that. But I just wanted to show you guys like the raw, rough draft here of it, not in workbook form yet, technically. But this is what is available, and you guys can have access to this actually now. I'm going to have it up on my Ko-fi for sale. So, like I said, this is the dashboard. So, January budget worksheets. And you can print what pages you want. You don't have to print all the pages. I went ahead and printed kind of like a rough draft of what like the book could look like for them. Not book, but the worksheets could look like for January. And then obviously you could not print off all the pages. You could add more if you need them, etc. So this is kind of what I did. So the very first set of pages would be the monthly spread. And so I left this, I tried to keep it fairly, generic. I just put January on there. I didn't date it, so this could be used for many Januaries to come. So you could buy this in 2025 and use it in 2026 if you didn't want to use it in 2025. Or 2026 and use it in 2027. I guess since January 2025 technically is already come and gone. But anyway, so I try to keep it fairly generic, and that way you can reuse this yearly if you want to. And I did a Sunday start because that's kind of the traditional calendar overview. So I will kind of pick these up so you guys can see them a little bit more. But that is what the spread looks like. And then I just did like important dates, to do, notes, just to kind of fill in the little sidebar here. And then after the monthly spread, then I have the monthly budget. And I guess I don't want to show all these pages all at once, so I will set these aside so we're not like getting too many sneak peeks. So then I printed off the monthly budget for me. If you don't do a monthly budget and do paycheck budgeting, you could just not print this sheet off. I end up doing a monthly budget, and then I also do some paycheck budgeting as well usually. So I went ahead and included this in the sheet. But you have your income, your bills, any savings, and then variable expenses, cash envelopes, sinking funds, whatever you want to do there, any debt. And then this is kind of your budget summary where you go and summarize and then come up with your total. So this is like the monthly budget sheet. And then I did a monthly spending recap sheet. So this is kind of where you would take the different categories for your budget. Like I use the highlighter method. So like for instance, this is my house category. So anything that would come out on my expense sheets as house, I would highlight it orange. And then at the end of the month, I would go and I would recap each of the categories. So house would be one of the categories. One of the categories would be garden, because I am doing some gardening. And then one of my categories is giving. So just to kind of give you guys an idea. And then you would put your amount budgeted down, and then how much you actually spent, and then the difference, whether it's positive or negative. So that is the next sheet. And then I did a budget by paycheck worksheet, and then also the cash envelope breakdown. I actually printed a couple of those so you guys could see those. So this is basically just the same exact template as the monthly, and it just, you can use it for budgeting out the paycheck. And then if you do the cash envelopes, this is the cash envelope breakdown, where which envelopes are getting which denominations, the total count of the bills, and then the total money, like the value of them. So it gives you kind of a little worksheet to use, and then you can use that to go fill out your teller slips and go to the bank. And then I just printed that again, just to show you that you could have a couple sets of worksheets in there for like a couple paychecks. And you can print out another set if you needed a third paycheck. And then the next sheets are the expense trackers. And so this is where I will keep track of the different accounts. So like my checking account, that's going to be my biggest one. I don't really, in 2026, my plan is to not really do cash, so I won't really be using that to track, but anyone who does, you could do just write cash in there and then keep track of all of your cash envelopes and your wallet, etc. And then I just printed off a couple sheets of this just to kind of give you an idea. So my plan would be to do checking, and then I have 3 different potential credit cards that could get balances on them just for the month. There's one that mostly I use, and then the other 2 are kind of hit and miss. It just depends on what they're associated with, and sometimes an expense will come out on them, but mostly it's just the one credit card. But I have trackers to print off for in case I wanted to track 3 credit cards. You could do that. So you could print off another tracker. I just didn't in this one because I was just kind of giving you guys an idea of what the setup looks like. And then I have a debt tracker sheet where you can write down the name of your debt, the date, and then the starting balance, and then what your interest rate is for that debt, and then any payments that you make towards it, and then like the ending balance. So you could keep track of, if you make more than one payment on debt, you could, list them all out. If you have multiple debts, you could list all those out, and that would just kind of be a debt tracker sheet for the month. And then this down here is kind of like this month's debt progress. So you would write down like your debt balance from last month, and then your current debt balance, and then just subtract the 2 to get your monthly debt progress. So basically this would be how much you have knocked down your debt and how much left. So that's kind of exciting. And then the total debt I started with, this would be like your total debt progress, so overall. So you could add up all of your debt from all of your categories and get their original balances, and then just copy over the total from this month's balances and everything, and then that would give you the total debt progress overall, and not just month by month like that one does. This is like the overall progress for like the year or longer if you've been doing it longer. And then I also created a savings tracker, which is kind of similar. You have your savings account, the date, your starting balance, if you do a withdrawal or deposit, and then your ending balance. And so if you happen to do more than one in and out of your savings account, you could just keep track of those transactions. And then just kind of another way to track it, last month's savings balance, this month's savings total, and then what your current savings balance is. So you would add the two together. And then a little box for any notes. And then I decided to create a little sinking funds tracker for those of you who are doing sinking funds. And so this is same thing. You list out your sinking funds, what the starting balance was, if you took out any cash, if you added any cash to it, and then what the ending balance is. So this would be great for like if you were using your, well, I'll just show you, like for instance, like whenever I was doing my sinking funds and like my grocery and my beauty sinking fund. So my beauty sinking fund is currently fully funded with $130. And so, but when I took the money out of that, then I would need to like make a note of how much I took out and then what was left. So this would be a way of kind of tracking all of your sinking fund binders if you wanted to do that, for those of you who are doing the cash system. And then this last one is kind of like a sinking funds check-in is what I called it. So basically it would be your sinking fund category and then how much is in your cash, like your cash balance. So how many is in your binders currently? So how much of the cash you got in there, and then how much is currently in the bank for that particular category, and then so your total balance between the cash and the bank. So this would be kind of just a way to kind of keep track of, okay, I have this much in cash, this much in the bank, this is what I currently have in this sinking fund. So anyway, so I just decided to put that in there for those of you guys who are doing the sinking funds, because I know a lot of people are. And then the last sheet is just notes and thoughts. And that way you guys could have that. And if you had anything you need to jot down, then you could do that. And make a note like for next month or anything like that. Or if you like to journal, whatever, you could make little, weekly entries in that. And yeah, so this is my budget worksheets, and this is the January version. So my plan is to every month come out with a new set. They'll look similar, but we will be changing up the graphics and the colors and kind of making them a little colorful. So that way, if you guys are like me and you want color, which I do, and don't have the time to create your own, or don't have the ability to create your own, if you don't have don't want to go buy stickers and take the time to do stickers. And I know some people will sell like these budgets, even for like the Budget Mom workbook, they'll sell stickers for that, and you can do monthly stickers. So some people will do that, but I just thought this would be a great way to still have some color, make it fun, make it colorful, and switch it up every month. But then you guys could print what sheets you need, and that way you're not wasting money like on like a bunch of money on something that you're not going to use. So my plan is to right now probably just put this up for $5 and sell it on Ko-fi. And so this will be live up on Ko-fi whenever you guys see this video coming out, and I will be updating, like I said, monthly. So I'll do one for February, etc. for the whole year of 2026. That is my plan, and I will try to put them up hopefully by mid-month of the month before. So hopefully by mid-January I will have February's out, so that way you guys can print them, get them ready, get things ready for the next month. So that is my plan. But I just wanted to hop on here and show you guys what I am going to be having up on Ko-fi. So if you guys are interested, definitely go check it out. And now you won't see me working in this particular workbook this year, these worksheets, because I do have the Budget by Paycheck, the Budget Mom workbook, and I'm already committed to that, and I want to use the resource that I have. But next year, like I said, I was discovering I don't need to print out, and even on this, I won't print out all of these sheets. What I will use will be this monthly spread. I will do the monthly budget and the monthly spending recap. I may or may not do my budget by paychecks. Sometimes I do, but I don't do the cash envelopes right now, so that sheet I wouldn't need. Um, and then I would do the expense trackers because I will be keeping track of my expenses. My debt tracker is just right now with my house. That's the only debt I have. So I would keep track of that. And then I am doing a couple savings. I know I mentioned this in my 2026 setup and plan, and how I'm going to be doing my splitting up my money for my savings games and stuff like that. But most of my money is going to be going towards extra on my mortgage payment. And then I'm just going to be saving a little bit towards new car fund and travel fund. So I'll be able to use the savings tracker for that. So I would use those sheets. I don't really do the sinking funds right now. I have an emergency fund already set up and funded, and so I probably wouldn't really use these so much. What I found out from what I did last year is what I had intended to do, like my monthly subscriptions, I was going to save up so much per month for them. And then what I ended up doing is most of them were anywhere from $100 to $150. And they would come out once a year. And so that would just be, I would end up budgeting into my monthly budget, and then I would subtract out something else, and maybe not use as much eating out expenses or something like that. So anyway, so I don't really keep track of the sinking funds, so I probably wouldn't use those. But as you can tell, some people use a lot of the worksheets. Some of them maybe would even use more. As we go, I may add to. We'll see. Right now, I think this is going to be pretty much what I'm going to be using to plan with for my budget, because these are kind of most of the sheets that I would use, and even a little bit less on some of those. So anyway, guys, thanks for clicking on the video and watching. And like I said, as soon as this video, you see this video, my Ko-fi will already have this up, and it will already be live, and the product will be for sale on Ko-fi. And my plan is to just make them $5 each month, and you can have them and then use them for years to come. So anyway, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you soon, and happy budgeting, friends. Bye.